Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the West Coast Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Richard Frias Guzman. And on today's episode 159, if I'm not mistaken, recording this on early Wednesday morning. I was actually trying to record this podcast yesterday, but I was having some technical difficulties. So hopefully that this is not super late news. Most of it's all stuff that happened on Sunday. But really just want to kind of give you my perspective on everything and just kind of things that I've heard as up to this date. Just kind of give you guys a little bit of things to kind of look forward to as well. Maybe even do like a little bit of preview since the Lakers are going to be underway tonight. Also the Dodgers, of course. So we'll do a little bit of a reaction and a preview if that sounds good to you guys. So with that being said, though, guys, just recording this on an early Wednesday morning. It's Wednesday, October 11th, 2023. Hopefully you guys are having a good week, and just to let you guys know a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today with the Dodgers, we're going to definitely talk about the unfortunate 2-0 record that we got right now in the playoffs, dropping 2 games to the Diamondbacks, and in all honesty, it's kind of seeming like a repeat of freaking last season at this point. Definitely don't want to go in and make it seem like it's all gloom and down and gloomy and everything this and that. There is definitely an opportunity, or there is definitely always a chance for the Dodgers to be able to come back, for us to be able to come back and win 3 in a row. Definitely think that this team is capable of it, but we'll definitely have to go in and see what's able to happen. It's all going to be about, at this point, you have to take it game by game. If we win this game, cool, win the next one. We win that next one, cool, win the next one after that. Just take it game by game at this point. We'll talk a little bit about that, talk about what I think is maybe going on with the game overall, with the games up to this point, and what we could hopefully expect this tonight, actually. We'll talk about the Lakers, just kind of what we've seen so far up to this point in preseason, who I'm liking, what players are kind of standing out, what I'm kind of noticing from some of the newer players, what I'm noticing from some of the players that we've had since last season. We'll talk a little bit about all of that, and then we'll maybe not do so much of a preview of the next game as preseason. Really, we all know that it's just a chance for the team to be able to get more acclimated with each other, just to go in and get more playing time, see exactly what the rotation's going to be, and so on and so forth. We'll also make sure to talk about the Raiders, of course, as they had that victory going up against the Green Bay Packers. Is not a pretty one. It was pretty ugly out there. Just defense definitely saved our butts out there when it came down to it. The offense, in my opinion, we'll talk about the offense mainly, just to kind of see about what are some options or what are some things that we can maybe see that Josh McDaniels and maybe the other offense and the offensive players are able to work on to maybe create more offense to make it so that we can actually score more than 20 points in a game. Especially when you have some of these teams that are scoring 20, 30, 40. Should you even have the freaking Miami Dolphins with that high-tain offense who's able to score 70 points, But we'll talk all about that. We're going to talk about that on today's podcast. But just before I get into it, though, guys, I do want to remind you guys that you can find me on Twitter. You can find me as well on Instagram. Or it's instead of Twitter, it's actually X. Sorry. It's going to be West Coast Pod 702. Again, that's West Coast Pod 702. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Facebook with West Coast Sports Podcast. You'll be able to find me right there. So with that being said, guys, let's get right into talking about the Raiders, as some of it's kind of older news, and I really feel like it's going to be beating a dead drum at this point. So we ended up having a victory, and I hate to go and make it sound so doom and gloom when it comes down to a victory. The victory was great and everything, guys. My opinion, I really, really liked what I saw from the defense out there. I'm really going to be down on the dumps when it comes down to the offense on this one. Defense, honestly, what a performance. Max Crosby, was a freaking monster out there. He was a one-man wrecking machine. He was able to go in and create all kinds of pressures. He was able to make it very, very difficult for Jordan Love to even look downfield at some points, and to even think about going downfield. He had to start running right off from the get-go, from the snap. So definitely great to go in and see him. Sad to go in and see Malcolm Kuntz, one of the only guys on the other end of the defensive line that has been able to provide some other pressure. But hopefully some of these other guys are able to step up. I think there's a couple guys in the practice team that maybe the Raiders are kind of, I don't know what the word is, that they're feeling pretty good about, that they're optimistic about. So I guess we'll definitely have to see what happens when it comes down to that. My main thing here, though, that I've been noticing is that there's been a little bit of talks about some trades that might happen. Not sure if the Raiders are really out there looking around for another defensive tackle or defensive end that can help out, that can complement Max Crosby, somebody that we've been searching around, a type of player that we've been searching around for quite some time now, to be honest. But definitely have to wait to see what happens when it comes down to that. I really just wanted to give my compliments and my praise over to Mad Max Crosby. Dude's set for a record year. He's averaging a sack a game, so if he continues that, he'll definitely be up for a career year. I really want to give my props up to Robert Spillane, former Steeler. Dude freaking just looks like a Raider. Dude acts like a Raider. He's all about football. He's a really good football player, honestly. And one of the things that he wasn't well known for was being able to come down with interceptions. And he ends up coming down with 2 of them in the game. So definitely great to go in and see that. It sounds like even in some interviews that he's been talking about that was one of the things that they had a big time emphasis on in practice, that they wanted to make sure that they're creating turnovers, that they're getting their hands on balls. And by that, I mean, of course, interceptions, right? But, definitely it's just hilarious when you hear like sports talks and everything. There's so many weird phrases and everything that you can use. But with that being said, though, guys, speaking of getting interceptions and everything, got to give my props as well over to Amik Robinson, as well with Robert Spillane, as I mentioned. Dude's always a big time tackler as well when it comes down to Robert Spillane. He's not one of those guys. He's similar to like a Divine Diablo, who's not afraid to get in there, get some tackles. He's one of our main run stoppers. He's one of our main sure tacklers that we have out there. So definitely great to go and have Robert Spillane. I think that was one of my favorite additions that we had. A lot of people who were former or a lot of people who are Steeler fans that I know and that I've heard have talked about over and over again how they were going to miss him, how he was a great football player, how he's going to be able to go ahead and provide a lot of like a certain attitude, so he's like an aggressor, so to say, on that team. A lot of players, a lot of teams keep an eye out for him, so to say. So if we have guys like that on all 3 levels when it comes down to Mad Max Crosby, Robert Spillane, and Divine Diablo on the linebacker side, and then if we have a couple guys like that in the secondary, unfortunately we're missing maybe a couple of them, like Nate Hobbs and I know I'm gonna mess up his name. Jacorian Bennett. Sorry, guys. So Jacorian Bennett, we did miss him in the last game as well, along with Nate Hobbs. But Amik Robinson definitely ended up stepping up in a big way, coming away with that interception to seal the game at the very end of the game. Dude ended up coming away and jumped up, elevated like a mug. Really elevated super high. He was going up against Christian Watson, who dude is like 6'2" or 6'3" when he's only like 5'9". So dude elevates like crazy. If you guys haven't seen the play, definitely got to check it out. He elevates super high up, ends up securing the ball, and comes down with it. Make sure that his feet were in bounds and everything, all that good stuff. So just an amazing play overall. So definitely got to give up my props for him. This guy's always, he's been around the team for maybe about 3-4 years now, if I'm not mistaken. And the guy's actually been always available to go ahead and, step right in, step up whenever the team is calling for him or calling for a player to step up. He's always a sure tackler as well, or at least he always makes sure that he puts in a hard effort in it, to make sure that he brings the guy down. He's not afraid of any kind of action. He's not afraid of any kind of, getting down in there, getting a tackle, or he's not afraid of taking a chance and being able to come down with an interception, as he has done a couple times in the past as well, along with this one on Monday, excuse me. So with that, guys, hopefully the defense can continue to go ahead and work on just improving themselves. Maybe they can get another player out there to complement Max Crosby, on the defensive line, and maybe that'll help us out even more, because in other spots I feel like we do have a couple different weapons, just where we're a little bit banged up on the secondary. But great to go in and see that Amik Robinson is always about it and always ready to go in and step up. Now to transition on over to the offense, guys, I really want to go in and take a moment to go and talk about them, as the offense has shown some bright spots especially now that Josh Jacobs is actually getting involved a little bit more now in the offense. He's showing a little bit better on as far as running. I mean, he's not getting a lot of chunk yards or anything like that. He's averaging maybe closer to 4 yards now per carry, but it's slowly but surely. And if it really wasn't for a big gain that he ended up getting closer to the end of the game on Monday, I think he would end up closer to like 40 yards instead of like 60 or something like that. He ended up getting like a big 20-something yarder. So I definitely would want to see more maybe out of that. But one of the things that I've been noticing, he's getting involved in the passing game a lot. And if he's doing that, if he can avoid maybe having, if that kind of saves him a little bit too from having to go ahead and get banged up and by running the ball all the time, and he can catch the ball a few times out of the backfield, then that's perfect. I think that would be a great way to get him a couple yards right off the back or something like that. Because most of those checkdowns, they're usually upfield a little bit, but even then, they usually get him in spots where hopefully they can at least get a few yards. But definitely great to go in and see that he's getting involved in the passing game. Hopefully that's some of the things that can open up a little bit more for the rest of the passing game. Even Garoppolo, like, kind of spreading the ball around a little bit more. We got to go in and see Michael Mayer. He was actually involved a little bit more in the passing game, so definitely great to go in and see that. He got him involved right away from the very beginning, so definitely nice to see that. Hopefully that kind of makes it so then teams are not solely focused on Devontae Adams, and we can get him the ball more, because excuse me, if you get that guy the ball more, he's going to be able to go to make great plays. It's just, he's an amazing playmaker. Similar to Jacoby Myers, the guy is a great playmaker. He can always find himself in open spaces, and he always finds a way to be able to go ahead and get himself closer and closer. Like he finds like the open field in order to go ahead and go for a touchdown. But definitely have to go and see what this team is able to go and do. My main thing is I want to see Josh McDaniels try to come up with something else, try to find a way to get these guys involved more, come up with a way to, score more than 20 points. And Jimmy G, please, for the love of God, can you play a game without having to freaking throw an interception? Just please, that's all I'm asking. Okay. So now that we've been talking about the offense for quite some time, guys, I did want to go and just stay on that, talk about the offense, and talk a little bit about the Lakers. So the Lakers here, guys, if you guys haven't seen, Lakers are definitely a really, really great offensive team. They have all kinds of great offensive players on this squad. In my opinion, we're a really great shooting team. If the team can shoot as well as they've been shooting in this postseason, preseason, excuse me. Now the preseason, it's preseason. It's a way they don't play much defense. They make sure that they take it easy. They make sure that they lay off of the players a little bit. In my opinion, the team is set to go ahead and set some records. I think this is a very good possibility for this team to be like one of the best jump shooting teams that we've had in quite some time. And if that's the case, then the rest of the league has to be ready and on notice, because the rest of this, not only just LeBron and AD, are they looking better when it comes down to the shooting that they have been working on. You see that AD, he's going to be that trailer. He's going to have that trail three that available for him a lot more often, especially since teams really don't want to go ahead and come up closer to him and have that possibility of being able to beat him off the dribble, and then making it really easy for him to get 2 points over at the basket. And who's really going to want to challenge Anthony Davis when he has a full head of steam like that? Same thing when it comes down to LeBron. If you're going to have LeBron coming down and possibly take a trail three, that's totally fine with me. It's a really great in rhythm 3-pointer that they can take. Even for you see a lot of point guards kind of taking it, when they're coming up the court and whatever, their defender's not really up on the 3-point line, they take one more step a little bit closer to the 3-point line and just shoot it right off the back. Now maybe it's not the most efficient way to go and score, but in some cases you want to have your big man taking that. It opens things up more. And I'm really looking forward to this whole 5-out principle that we're going to be able to have. That means that all 5 players are going to be most likely out on the perimeter. It's going to open things up a lot for being able to drive down the middle. We might even play a little bit of 4-out, 1-in with Jackson Hayes. You get to go and see that he's a player that has really, really shown up. He has a big time role when he comes down to the offensive side, and can definitely be a big time role on the defensive side. On the defensive side, I really like the guy that he's able to do some of the similar things that Anthony Davis is able to do. but maybe not as good, if that makes sense. And of course, I mean, who's really going to ask for somebody to be, hey, can you do everything Anthony Davis does and as good as he does? Like, that's pretty messed up, right? But if Jackson Hayes, hey, can you do the best that you can to go and do that? I feel like that's something that's reasonable. He has a lot of athleticism. He already knows how to go ahead and work in a drop defense. So definitely great to go and see that he already kind of found a niche or a place in this rotation in this team. So it's going to make it, in my opinion, actually a little bit more harder to go ahead and figure out what's going to happen with Christian Wood. Christian Wood is already showing that he's a good offensive player. My whole thing with him, can he be a good offensive player even though he might not find the ball coming towards his way a lot? Can he stop showing a little frustration when he's not getting the ball in certain positions that he wants or that he's used to? That's what I really want to look forward to, because you have guys like Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura. These guys are going to get the ball most likely over him. Maybe that might not be the case because they notice how good of an offensive player Christian Wood can really be, but we'll definitely have to wait to see what happens, because in my opinion, I feel like he might not be getting the ball as often as he's used to in the past. And if that's the case, I hope that he can still provide something on the defensive side. If he can be maybe a help defender, or if he can take over kind of like in that drop defense like how AD used to do, and AD can be a help defender, then we really have something going. We'll have to go in and see what happens though, guys. One other guy that I really did want to talk about, Taurean Prince. If you guys haven't seen him, if you guys haven't talked about him or anything, it might just be because in his first game, it was a little bit rocky. He fouled out. I think it was only in a short amount of time and everything, this and that. But it's totally fine. In this past game, he ended up doing a lot better. He ended up making some critical shots. Ended up showing that he's a great off-ball player. He's great being able to go into work off of Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Austin Reeves, guys that are going to have the ball more often and that can set them up, and that are going to be, he's a great finisher in the sense, but on the perimeter side, like he can shoot the ball, he can even drive down the middle. He has athleticism enough to go and be able to do that. So definitely it's going to be interesting to see what this team is really going to look like. I'm excited for it though, guys. Can't wait to see more of the preseason, and can't wait to see once this team hits the regular season. But until then, we'll definitely have to go in and keep an eye on how this team looks. Speaking of keeping an eye on how a team looks and everything, guys, I got to keep a close eye on this team for today. The team that I'm talking about, if you guys don't know, the Dodgers. If you guys haven't been able to keep up with it, definitely got to go and keep an eye on it now, because the Dodgers are down 2-0 to the Diamondbacks. I really did not expect this to happen. I really thought that our offense was going to be able to carry most of the weight, being able to go ahead and provide a lot of scoring, make it easier for the pitchers to not have to go and worry about scoring, about having perfect games and really good games and this and that. But it's been actually the exact opposite. Our pitchers have been actually giving up a lead right in the very first inning for most of the play in both the games, and then making it so that our offense is having to catch up right off the back. And in most cases, I wouldn't be worried too much, honestly, because I know that our offense would be able to usually keep up and actually get some points and score quite a bit. I mean, there's been games where the Dodgers have been able to score over 8, 9, 10 runs in a game. And right now, it's like they can't even get more than 5, but I don't know. I'm sorry to go to make it sound so doom and gloom, but it's a weird thing because it's happening in all of baseball. And I know most of you guys don't care about the other teams and everything. I really don't. Excuse me, guys. I really don't. Like, I mean, it's whatever that it's happening to other teams. I just care the fact that it's happening to the Dodgers, right? But the fact that it's happening to all the other teams, it helps me understand that it's something that's been going on for quite some years. Like it's all these teams that spend the whole season, that are great the whole season, end up with 100 wins or more in the season, which there was quite a few of them, including the Dodgers. And speaking of which, it was our 4th season going over 100 games in a consecutive year. Fourth year in a row. Especially coming after that 111 win where we ended up getting the franchise record. But in all honesty, guys, it continues to happen over and over and over again, where these teams that come up in the wild card, that get hot at the right moment and stay hot throughout the whole postseason, and they end up winning a freaking World Series. It happens all the time. It happened with the Nationals. Maybe not so much last year, but I mean, it happens. It happens from time to time, and it's one of those things that, I mean, like, if it happens to your team, like, you just have to accept the fact that it happened. I mean, it just wasn't meant to be, or whatever the case is, or maybe just the gas ran out, or whatever, But when it comes down to it, I am still hoping that the team is able to. I can definitely see a road to victory on this one. But you have to take it game by game. You can't automatically start thinking, oh, the Dodgers are going to win all 3 games in a row. No. Win this game, go to the next one, win that one, go to the next one, win that one. Take it game by game, guys. Hopefully tonight we can start that road, we can start that path. They can play really well. I'm actually wondering who they're going to be starting. There's been some talks that it could even still be Kershaw. I'll have to go in and see what's going to happen there, what decision Dave Roberts ended up coming up with. But we'll definitely talk about it today. One of the main things, though, speaking of offense from all these games, though, guys, I'm hoping that our offense can actually step up and create a whole lot of runs, maybe just demoralize the Diamondbacks, and then making it easy for them to come up with those other 2 wins. If they can do something like that, show them that they are the Dodgers who we all thought they were this year. That they have that dynamic offense that we all know that they have. And if they can do that, I'm sure that we can come away with the victory. It's all going to start off with our main guys, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. Mookie has had some kind of sort of weird thing going on in the postseason. It's been going back maybe ever since he was a Red Sox. When he was with the Red Sox, I think even then it was going on where he was not doing so well in the postseason. But we'll have to see what happens. I mean, he has a teammate on the team that was on that team as well, in JD Martinez, who at least showed up a little bit in the past couple games. So hopefully that can be a little bit more contagious, and it spreads over to some of the other teams, or to his other teammates. If Freddie Freeman can get going, Max Muncy can get going, and some of these other guys, they can just at least go in and create some sort of offense. Being able to help out some of these other guys, they can piece it all together. That's the way to do it. But we'll see what happens with this game, though, guys. I really just I have. If you guys don't know me, friends, family members, I mean, I have a Dodgers tattoo. That's how much I love my Dodgers. I know. I get all worked up and everything over it. But I am hoping, I have a whole lot of faith in these guys that they can get something done. Hopefully I'm not eating my words tomorrow or something like that. But we'll talk all about that, though, guys, on the next podcast. Hopefully we're talking about that the Dodgers ended up winning and that they're waiting for Game 4. But until then, guys, I'll talk to you guys later. Hope you guys have a good Wednesday. Hope you guys have a good week. Talk to you guys later. Peace.